Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome back, fight fans. Welcome back. Everybody wants Canelo Alvarez, and this is according to BoxingScene.com. Showtime's president of sports, Steven Espinoza, states if Canelo Alvarez becomes available, we'll be very aggressive to sign him. This is the exact statement when asked about signing Canelo Alvarez. We'd love to. We're proud of the time we spent with Canelo. We did some important fights in his career, and we helped launch him as a pay-per-view attraction in the U.S. market. We'd love to be in the business with him again. We're obviously going to respect his existing contracts. We're not going to run afoul of that. If there's a time when he's available, we'll be very aggressive. We have a lot to offer, but the time to pursue that is only after it's clear he's contractually able to do so. There haven't been any conversations. As soon as there's some clarity, we'd love to have the discussion. And that's Showtime's president of sports, Steven Espinoza, basically saying, look, we got a lot to offer Canelo Alvarez. We would love to have this guy on our platform, and we'll do whatever we need to do to get him. We'll be very aggressive, is his words, to sign him. So, you see that makes a lot of sense from Steven Espinoza. Who wouldn't want to land the biggest star in the U.S. market? And at the end of the day, you've seen that, Avani Yildirim's own manager came out and stated, I have now contacted the well-known promoter Al Heyman, and he will negotiate for us in regards to a potential Canelo Alvarez-Avani Yildirim fight on Showtime. He stated his partner in the TV sector is Showtime. If no agreement is reached by September 22nd, the fight will be auctioned off, and we're going to bid $40 million. That's the value that Al Heyman and Showtime see in Canelo Alvarez being on that platform, is $40 million. And you see the Zone is wanting to pay Canelo Alvarez $15 million or less. So when you really look at the situation for what it is, you see some people are confident in Canelo Alvarez and willing him to offer the money that they need, and others are hesitant. We got to be honest about what we're seeing from all of this. And the reason why Showtime is so desperate is that you see most of their stars have went over to the PBC. Deontay Wilder was pretty much, flagship. They're all with the PBC, but most of them went over to Fox. And Deontay Wilder was their flagship fighter. Errol Spence was a big attraction there. And now all of these guys have went over to the Fox side of the PBC. And, pretty much Showtime has their leftovers. They have guys that aren't really big sellers like Gervonta Davis and the Charlo brothers. So at the end of the day, Showtime is looking for a massive pay-per-view star and attraction. They're heavily invested in the pay-per-view market. So it would make sense for Showtime to want the biggest face, in the American market to be able to sell pay-per-views. I mean, you see even Showtime put up over $20+ million for Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale. So they were desperate to keep Deontay Wilder on their end, and he still left for Fox. So at the end of the day, it makes sense why they're in the business of trying to get Canelo Alvarez if he becomes available. Now, the latest situation with Canelo Alvarez is that his lawsuit against Golden Boy and the Zone was dismissed in its first form. There's pretty much a technicality error. These guys, are able to make the amendments and refile this. They have about 5 days to do that. And at the end of the day, you see Oscar De La Hoya trying to make amends. He basically states on Twitter, at the end of the day, while yesterday's court order does not end the case, we are hopeful that this error will allow us to reset and refocus on what's important, working together to get Canelo Alvarez back in the ring against a top opponent as soon as possible. If not, we expect Canelo Alvarez's lawyers will now enter arbitration as laid out in our contract. So these guys really want an intermediary to come in and help them make a decision on where they go from here and settle all of this so they can get Canelo Alvarez back in the ring. We understand that Canelo Alvarez never even wanted to file a lawsuit. He simply wanted to fight. That's why he was willing to take 30% off of his guaranteed purse. That's why he was willing to fight with no live gate and lose millions. That's why he was willing to fight, with no sponsors and lose even further millions. At the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez simply wants to get back in the ring and fight a world champion. The majority of this falls on the Zone and hurts them the most. They're struggling in the U.S. market. They're wanting their biggest star, to fight in publicity stunts against a 47-year-old Oscar De La Hoya or an MMA fighter who's never boxed in circus stunt attraction to gain temporary subscribers who would not have long-term vested interest in DAZN, instead of valued world champions who are undefeated. It would be in DAZN and Golden Boy's best interest to come to an agreement. But once again, Unbiased as always, it's the IBFP.